Jonathan, I need to teach you about this podcast that I listened to when you said that parenting gets easier as they get older, yeah? That's not in my experience. Why do you think it gets easier?
I think you have bad children, that's the problem. I think, well, what I really meant was, it's a bit more complicated. Easier is a kind of blanket phrase. It gets very different. And I worried so much when my kids were little. I was always worried about safety, always worried about their health. Have they caught something? Have they done something? Always worried about how they were doing at school. Was there bullying going on? Was there other stuff going on? Always worried about, are they just going to walk in front of the road? You know, always worried about, are they happy and are they hiding stuff from us or are they OK? You know, and all that stuff which really lands on you heavily as a parent, I think, when they're little. It's like you were talking about your little one not sleeping, and sometimes you can't help. You know, you really want to fix something for them, you can't. And I felt that. When they get to be adults, I think you still have that connection and you still have that responsibility and you still have those concerns, but I think you have the knowledge now that, OK, you need to step back and you need to let them make some mistakes and learn from them, and you need to still be there for them, but they aren't your responsibility in the same way. And so I think what I meant was that massive responsibility where you have to do all that stuff. It is actually on you, and you can't always do it, and you can't always fix it. I felt it was very difficult and sometimes really draining and emotionally difficult, whereas now I think, OK, I want them to be happy, I want them to be well. We would do everything we can to help them, but at the same time, I want them to stay away from me and look after themselves a bit.
No, you don't have that because your daughter, unfortunately, is not well, and so she is.
But of course, I was joking when I said that, of course, if ever they need anything, we're there for them. And she isn't well at the moment, my daughter. She's still with us at home and she's still bedridden, and it's a complicated thing she has. It's a combination of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, and so there isn't a kind of quick fix cure, you know. So we basically are there to try and help her gradually get back some strength, get back some ability to look after herself. And that is difficult. That is draining for us.
Especially because these are illnesses that we didn't grow up experiencing with our own friends and family.
They weren't labelled them.
Yeah, we didn't actually have so many discovered conditions that we now know of. So it's a hard thing to navigate, isn't it?
And it's also hard because there isn't a cure as such, you know what I mean? It isn't like something... When someone has something, you know, and obviously some things we can't fix any even more, and there are some terrible things out there, but often, normally, you can say, well, you do a course of this, or you do this kind of rehab, or this sort of, like, physio, but there isn't a kind of quick fix for this. So, but you know what? I'm a kind of optimistic kind of person. I think she will go well. And also, I often... my wife and I, when we say, you know, there are so many people going through so much worse. You know, she's ill, but she's not dying. You know, and there are people out there whose kids are dying, and that's like, you know, I can't begin to imagine how that must feel, and they can't help them. So really, I look at it as we're lucky. You know, we've got her home with us, we know she's safe, we see her a lot. I wish I didn't have to look after a dog all the time, but I mean, certainly, he's a weirdo. He's kind of... She's got a French grey bulldog, right, and he's become completely round. He's like, you know when you see those fat seals?
You're feeding him too much.
I know, but I put him on a diet. He's like a woman on menopause. Even though he's not eating, he's still putting on weight. He's still putting on weight.
Well, it's great she's got you. What do you think? You know, we're talking about the younger years versus the older years, and when we're young, we take, you know, parental leave, maternity leave, and there was somebody quite senior at Co-op recently has taken 4 months off to get their kids through GCSEs. Do you think we should be able to take some kind of sabbatical when they become teenagers and mentor them into the next stage?
I mean, I think so. You know, it's like I can see why some businesses would find that kind of onerous and a strain to put on their financial side of things. But at the same time, I think ultimately, and we're more and more getting this way, I think, and certainly the younger generation coming up are focusing much more on what their life is rather than what they feel obliged to do.
Right.
You know, and it's like... And that is important, because, you know, you don't want to turn around at 50 and say, I wish I'd spent more time... I mean, I know myself, you know, I look back on things where I think, I wish I'd done a bit more of that or a bit more of that or a bit less of that. And you can't change it.
No.
You know, so you do need to make sure that you can find those times. And it is so important, I think, so prioritising what you want to do, and hopefully companies will be aware of that, and if they value, and they should value their people, because it's the greatest resource you have in any company, then you should make sure that they can work in a way that...
I think it's really amazing about you, though, is that growing up all over the years, I've always noticed that you do sort of have this equality within yourself and women. You and Jane are quite a strong partnership, and I feel like we're talking about this CEO from Co-op. I think it's a woman, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a woman.
It would never be a man in my head, whereas with you, I do think that you're kind of the guy, kind of dad, or husband that would be quite hands-on. So,
the other thing about Jonathan, he's a consummate professional. He knows we've only got 15 seconds left. So and unfortunately, we can't let him answer that question, which is a real shame. I'm so sorry, Jonathan.
He's very
We did do a poll on this, by the way. Which are the hardest to parent, teens or toddlers? And our audience said teens, 75% to 25%.
Because they raised them wrong.
Yeah. Jonathan, lovely to have you here, as ever.